Hello, everyone, and welcome to the next episode of my podcast, Wild Wander, where I answer your hiking and outdoor related questions. Working off of last week's question, how do you train for a 14er? Today I'm going to discuss how to acclimate to higher elevations. For those of you who know me, you know I have a slight speech impediment, so these videos are especially fun for me. So I'm going to do my best to properly enunciate the word acclimate, acclimatize, etc. But I'm also going to try to use different words that mean the same thing to help me get through this episode. Thank you for your understanding, as I might slur my words. A lot of people come to Colorado from sea level and want to hike a 14er, or just simply hike in general. This can be dangerous if you're not already used to living at a higher elevation. You could get altitude sickness, which pretty much feels like you're experiencing the worst hangover ever. While ibuprofen can help, the only cure for altitude sickness is to descend back down the mountain. So if you do feel yourself with any of the symptoms like headache, dizziness, nausea, vomiting, it's time to head back down to a lower elevation. The single most important thing you can do to prevent altitude sickness is to stay hydrated. Prevention is key because once you're feeling the symptoms of altitude sickness, the only easy way to treat them is to descend to a lower elevation. As you gain altitude, your body tends to lose water and salt faster than you're used to. Heading to higher elevations is often accompanied by fluid loss, so you need to drink lots of fluids to remain properly hydrated. This means like at least 3 to 4 quarts of water per day. A lot of the symptoms of altitude sickness mirror those of dehydration, so consistently drinking water throughout the day goes a long way to getting you acclimatized quickly. A good rule of thumb is if you're not peeing frequently, or if your pee isn't clear, you're just not drinking enough water. At altitude, the air is thinner, and as a result, there's more exposure to the sun. So to prevent dehydration, in addition to drinking a lot of water, you're going to want to protect yourself from the sun. You should carry and use your sunscreen at all times. Use a lip balm with an SPF in it. Make sure you have a good pair of sunglasses, and consider wearing a wide brim hat to protect yourself from the sun. A lot of people come to Colorado and want to hike right away, but it's important to avoid traveling from a low elevation to a high elevation, say 9,000 feet above sea level, in one day, especially and then exercising. Like, that's just not a good idea. So in other words, don't try to hike a 14er the first day you arrive. Give yourself a few days so your body can adjust to the lower oxygen levels that you're going to be experiencing. As you gain elevation, the air gets thinner, so each breath you draw contains less oxygen. Over time, which is usually just in a few days, your body strengthens and adjusts to accommodate this. When you're at a higher elevation than you're used to, your body is working harder just to breathe. Each breath you take contains less oxygen, so each heartbeat contains less oxygen, making your heart beat faster as well. In other words, your body is working harder to do the same thing it would do at sea level. Keep in mind that different people will adjust to the increased altitude at different rates, so you need to make sure all of your party is properly acclimatized before going higher. One of the symptoms of altitude sickness is insomnia, so it can be hard to get enough rest. However, a good night's sleep can do wonders to help you prevent altitude sickness. As with any physical activity, avoid tobacco and alcohol and other depressant drugs like barbiturates, tranquilizers, and sleeping pills. These depressants further decrease the respiratory drive during sleep, resulting in a worsening of the symptoms. And alcohol often replicates many of the symptoms of altitude sickness, and you'll quickly find it's already a challenge to stay hydrated while getting used to higher altitude. And alcohol is going to dehydrate you, so consuming it only worsens your hydration situation. I hear a lot of people celebrating a summit by drinking a beer or a shot of alcohol at the summit, but this is really a bad idea. The summit is only halfway. You still need to hike back down with your decision-making skills intact. It's a better idea to wait until you're safely down the mountain before drinking any alcohol. Of course, you'll want to eat healthy foods at altitude, but your diet should change well before your trip. Consider eating foods rich in carbohydrates and potassium to prepare your body for these higher elevations. So carbohydrates are foods like oats, potatoes, peas, peanuts, beans, and brown rice. Hopefully there's something in that you'll enjoy eating. And muscle cramping is also associated with low potassium levels, and that occurs frequently while hiking. So foods like bananas, avocados, oranges, spinach, yogurt, dried fruit, tomatoes, cucumbers, carrots, potatoes, beans, peas, milk, meat, chicken, and fish, those are all high in potassium. So eating a variety of those foods before and during your hike are a good idea to help prevent muscle fatigue. Personally, I like dried mangoes and beef jerky, just what my body wants. You'll also want to stay away from fried foods because they can make you feel bloated and tend to interfere with digestion. So, to sum it up, to prevent altitude sickness and to help you acclimatize yourself to higher elevations, stay hydrated, eat foods rich in carbohydrates and potassium, reduce your exposure to the sun, limit your alcohol intake, and give yourself some time to adjust. I hope you enjoyed this episode, and to help me keep these episodes coming, please ask me questions by commenting or going to the contact button on my website. Thanks for watching, and remember, I want you to win at life and enjoy the adventure.